Hey everybody, can you believe it? 2 videos in the span of 2 days? That's right. Well, since I made the Let It Be box set video, and so many of you watched it, and so many of you were so kind in the comments and said welcome back and you're glad to see I'm making videos again, it really inspired me to now make a video talking about another box set that came out recently, and it is the George Harrison All Things Must Pass 50th anniversary box set, and I happened to pick up the 5 LP box, and I gotta say that this one, I've been listening to this for quite a while now. This came out, I don't know, I guess like a month ago, maybe a little bit more than that. I picked it up the day it came out, and this one was a bit of a struggle for me, I gotta say. When I first listened to it, my opinion of it was very, very poor, is what I will say. I was not impressed at all upon first listening. And then over the last couple of weeks, I gotta say, I've warmed up to it a bit more, and I've taken it for what it actually is, which it's a remix. And if I take it as a standalone, so it's its own thing compared to the original. This is a US pressing, or this is my favorite pressing. This is a German pressing from the early 70s. If I take it as a separate thing compared to these ones that I love, then I appreciate it a lot more. But let me go a little bit more into detail here and kind of just give you my overall thoughts about this new box. Now, I'm not going to show you every single thing that's inside this box, because I'm sure other people have made videos that are much better than I could possibly do. So I'll just say this is the 5 LP edition. So with this one, you get the 2 original LPs that have the remix on it, and then you get, of course, the Apple Jam record, which that was not remixed, that was just remastered. So those are all just the original mixes there. And then you get 2 LPs of the session outtakes, which is the stuff that I was really interested in. Now, the thing that was kind of a bummer about the 5 LP edition of this box is you don't get all of George's demos that come with the CD box and like the Uber box set. That was the $1,000 box that you got the gnomes and all that kind of stuff with. I was not going to spend $1,000 on a box set. I don't care what it is, who it's by or whatever. That's just never going to happen. So I opted for this edition of the box. Now, let's first talk about the remixes here. So the remixes, like I said at the beginning of this video, when I first heard them, very first time, I gotta say I didn't like them. Right away, the vocals were really, really loud. And the low end was extremely, extremely boosted as well. So the bass and like the kick drum and stuff like that was just overly bloated, is how I would describe it. And it was just so different, just drastically different is how I would say it. Drastically different than the original mix from 1970. Now, I've always been in the camp where I actually have always liked the way the original mix sounded. A lot of people think that it has too much reverb and it's too Phil Spectorized or whatever, and that George's vocals were buried and all that kind of stuff. I've always loved it. I always thought it was great. This has always been one of my favorite albums of all time by anyone. Definitely my favorite album by George. I've always loved it. So I didn't have a problem with the original mix. So maybe that's why when I heard this new remix and how it's just so drastically different, why it affected me so much. So right away, I was listening to it, and I just kind of, in a weird way, for the first time ever with these Beatle-related remixes, I was really finding myself having a hard time, and I wasn't really enjoying it all that much. But I did listen to the whole album, the regular album, all the way through, and got to the end of it, and then I listened to the Apple Jams, and I have to say the Apple Jams sound absolutely fantastic in this box. I've always loved the Apple Jams. I know a lot of people don't care for them. I think they're amazing. They're really, really fun to listen to. They're a fun record to put on kind of in the background while you're maybe doing something else, like studying or reading or I don't know, something like that. But I personally really enjoy the Apple Jam, and it sounds great on this box. And that's because it's just remastered and not remixed. And then the session material, the session outtakes, also really, really fascinating on here, and they sound great as well. So love those also. Gotta say, the actual quality of the vinyl itself is a little bit on the not so good side, is what I would say. Kind of noisy vinyl is all the vinyl is consistent, I will say, and it's all consistently noisy. That's not really a good thing, of course. I know that it was made by a company, I can be getting this wrong, but I think it's by GZ is the company, and I think it's made in the Czech Republic. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the quality control out of that company, this company, is just not all that great, and it does affect some of the vinyl. Now, all the records in here were very flat, no warping or anything like that. There was a little bit of intergroove distortion going on with some of the discs. I don't exactly remember which ones. I should have written that down, but I know some of the, especially the actual album remixed, there was some intergroove distortion going on there. Not terrible, but a little bit was happening. So I think what I really want to say, though, about the remix is, upon first listen, I didn't like it. And then I think I took a couple days away from it and came back to it. And I found myself enjoying it more because I was approaching it in a different way. And in that different way, I was approaching it like, okay, this is a brand new listening experience. I'm not going to think about the original mix at all. I'm just going to take it for what it is, which is a brand new thing. Kind of like how I approached listening to the Beatles' Love album for the first time. And when I did that, I did find myself enjoying the remix a lot more. And I was hearing things that I hadn't heard before. I was hearing parts that were coming out that I didn't even know existed. So that was a lot of fun. It was like experiencing All Things Must Pass in a brand new way, which is kind of cool in a sense. But after doing that, after that second and third listen, where I did enjoy it a little bit more, I was able to kind of pick out certain tracks that I thought did sound really good and maybe even sounded better than their original mixes on the original album. Now, when I say that, of course, that's just my opinion. The ones that I think sounded better or have improved with the remix are the more acoustic-based ones, like If Not For You, Behind That Locked Door, Apple Scruffs. Those really, really shine on this remix. And I think it's just simply because of the way they were recorded originally, which they didn't have a lot of the Phil Spector, everything with the kitchen sink thrown into them. They were more simple recordings, and they really benefit from this remix because you can hear the acoustic guitars. They're so crisp and clear and just beautiful. George's voice sounds great on those songs. The Pedal Steel by Pete Drake, excellent. So those tracks really, really shined on this remix for me, and I actually really enjoy listening to those. The tracks that I felt suffered the most in a bad way from the remix were tracks like Isn't It a Pity? Isn't It a Pity to me all of a sudden just sounded so different. There were backing vocals during the long fade out that I'd never heard before that I actually don't think were all that great, that are now sticking out a lot on this remix. And just like I said earlier, overall the bass on tracks like Isn't It a Pity and Isn't It a Pity and My Sweet Lord and Wah Wah and more of the like upbeat songs, the full band songs, the bass is just a little bit too much for me. And I love a lot of bass, don't get me wrong. I'm a person where when the Sgt. Pepper remix came out that Charles Martin did and the bass was really, really boosted, I enjoyed it. I thought it sounded really good. And it was just a new listening experience in itself. With this remix, I think the bass ruins certain tracks at certain times. And that's not a good thing, of course. especially when, these box sets are not cheap at all. And granted, of course, I didn't go for the most expensive one, but people are spending their hard-earned money and they want to get good sound from, especially if they're picking up the vinyl edition of these box sets. They want to get good sound, and when the bass is just overbearing, it just kind of ruins the whole thing. So that was a big issue for me. Now, I do have to say, though, that I've learned to like this box set. I don't know if that's because I'm just ended up being kind of stuck with it, and so now I'm trying to find the good side of it. But I will say that I have learned to like it, and I like it as its own thing. As not when I want to listen to All Things Must Pass, I'm not going to go for this box. I'm going to go for most likely my German pressing here, because the sound quality is absolutely amazing. It's stunning, and it just sounds great, and I love this original mix. So if I want to listen to All Things Must Pass the way I know it in my brain, and the way that it's been implanted into all my feelings and my emotions and all that kind of stuff, this is the version I'm going to listen to, or maybe even this US pressing, which also sounds pretty good as well. When I want to listen to All Things Must Pass in a different way, or maybe just listen to a certain track and hear it just, when you get tired of listening to the same mix over and over again, it will be nice to have this box set. That being said, this is a box that, in hindsight, if I was able to maybe just borrow it from somebody before I bought it, or just get an advanced copy or something like that, I probably wouldn't have ended up buying this if I was able to listen to it on my own. But I did end up buying it. Here it is. It's in my collection. I'm happy to have it. I'm not going to sell it or anything like that. I am happy to have it. The box itself, by the way, is beautiful. They really did a nice job. It's really sturdy. I do have some complaints as far as the what you get inside this 5LP box. The booklet is, it's not a book at all. It is a booklet, but it is so minimal. It's absolutely nothing involved in it. It's like a little pamphlet. I believe it's 6 pages. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. It's 6 pages. Of those 6 pages, only 2 really have any type of information at all. And there's an interview, which is one of the pages. There's a little dialogue between Donnie Harrison and Paul Hicks, the guy who was responsible for the remix. And it's a very vague dialogue between the two. They don't really give a lot of information about, the backing, the background of how the album was made and what George was thinking, and maybe the session players and all that kind of stuff. It's just them talking about specific things within the remix of isn't it weird how on this song there was a synthesizer that was buried, and the guitar part on this song is interesting. And so you read this once and you're never going to read it ever again. I'm the kind of person where when I listen to a box set, I like to look at a good book that comes with the box set and look who's playing on what song, who produced it, who mixed it, the date it was recorded. I like all that information, and that's not in this little pamphlet at all. The only information that's even close to that is on the very back here. And by the way, I put the original Hype sticker. I stuck it to the back. On the back here, you get a the special thanks, and the who executive produced it, who mixed it, but it's not really any information about the actual songs within this box. And I know, of course, that in the deluxe Uber edition, the $1,000 box, it did come with a really nice hardcover book with all that information. But why not put that in this box as well? Because it just seems like they could have done that, and they didn't. And it seems, I felt like this booklet right here was there's just nothing to it. And I should say too that this does have pictures, but they're kind of wasted space in my opinion. There's this picture of George in the cave at Friar Park, and then there's a little quote from George here, which is a whole page, by the way. They could have put some more information, I feel like. Then there's this picture of George, a little outtake. Then there's a picture of some of the band members in the studio. When I say some, a lot of them are missing here. Eric Clapton's not there, Carl Radle's not there, or Rattle, I guess it's Rattle. Bobby Whitlock's not there. Jim Gordon. A lot of people are missing from that photo. And then there's a photo of Donnie and Paul Hicks walking in the grounds of Friar Park. Anyway, as you can tell, I just don't like the booklet. I think it was a wasted opportunity. And then, as far as the other contents, the box itself is very, very nice. It's got the original orange inside orange thing, and then it lists the players and all that kind of stuff. But overall, I probably said the word overall about 50 times already, so I apologize if I'm overusing that. But overall, my opinion of this box set is that it's just okay. And if you were wondering if I would recommend picking it up, I actually wouldn't. And I'm not usually this harsh when it comes to box sets, especially if it's Beatle related. But I just have to be honest and give you my personal opinion. And that actually leads me to another point that I wanted to bring up. So I actually was approached by a company. I won't say the company, but it was a company on the outside who wanted to give me free advanced promotional items that I could review on my channel and talk about. But I decided to not do that. And it was a hard decision because obviously it would be nice to get free stuff, especially if it was stuff that would end up buying anyway because I love it. But I decided not to accept it because I felt like if I was receiving products from somebody or some company, that I would have a very hard time being 100% honest about the products. And I would have a hard time, just being critical. And that's what this channel is all about, is speaking freely and really giving my opinion about something, especially when it comes to sound, or when it comes to packaging, or like the booklet in here, like I was just talking about. And I want to be able to speak freely on that stuff because that's so important to me, especially when it comes to the sound and the quality of the records and all that kind of stuff. That's important to me, and I just decided that I wasn't going to get involved in that. It seemed a little bit messy to me, and I didn't want to be influenced by any outside sources at all. Especially at that time, I was running my website, so I had a kind of business thing going on as well, and I just didn't want to get mixed up in that whole scene. So if I have had some of you ask me, if I've ever received advanced copies of things, or how come you didn't get this, or blah, blah, blah. Because I know a lot of the other YouTubers out here who are in the vinyl community, all that stuff, they have received stuff like that. And by the way, I think that's awesome and good for them. I'm very happy for them. They're able to get that and to do it on their channel. And I'm sure a lot of them are able to still be honest and give their personal opinion about stuff like that. And I think that's great. I just didn't feel personally that it was something that I wanted to get involved with. So for those of you asking, that's kind of the story about that. But anyway, that is just kind of my rough ideas or my thoughts on the All Things Must Pass 50th anniversary box set. Didn't really love it. And I really, really wanted to. I will say that. So obviously, the end question I will leave you all with, that I'm sure some of you are asking, is, well, if you had to choose between the 50th anniversary and your favorite pressing, which happens to be this German pressing of All Things Must Pass, which one would you pick? And clearly, I would pick the German pressing here. This one's got a little bit of staining on the cover and tape going across it, but the records sound great, and that's all I care about. So, yeah. That's how I feel about the 50th anniversary edition of All Things Must Pass. Would love to know in the comments below what some of you think about it. Which of the editions did you pick up? And that's it for now. I will be making another video talking about John Lennon's Plastic Ono Band anniversary edition that came out also this year. I picked that up. Haven't made a video about it yet, but I'm going to. Maybe sometime next week or just whenever I feel like it. So that's kind of how I'm making videos from now on. Just gonna make them when I get the feeling, and yeah. So stay tuned. More videos coming. Don't know when, but soon. So that's it. Take care and bye for now.